Hello, it's Krista here with you again today. Just wondering how the end of your summer is going. Is it a good one? Is it a bad one? Are you struggling these days? Are you keeping and finding work during this coronavirus madness? Where are we today in the lines of stress levels, anxiety, depression, when we are stuck at home more, not able to do everything you want to, but I just say thank God that a lot of the beaches are still open. So, as it's going toward the end of the summer, where we do get stuck in more. I think that closing out the end of this season could still be a cozy, warm, less stress one if we keep into our meditation, finding time to pray and meditate in our everyday, for at least like 10 or 15 minutes. And when we do stress, can we close our eyes for a moment, put our hands together or out, or whatever you want to do, to place them on your knees or whatever, and just take a deep breath in. And remember a calm place, maybe to go into a calm place by yourself, like if you can imagine yourself on the beach when it does become in the middle of the winter time. If you go to that prayerful, inner, peaceful spot in your body and can get in touch with it to help you through that time. Maybe help someone else learn to breathe and relax if someone else is having a stressful moment. Whether you might have a toxic individual or relative or relationship partner yelling at you, if you're still going through toxic relationships, entangled with other family members that are all put together during this, perhaps, these can be really doubting times where we can start even doubting our own spirituality or love for ourselves or who we are. And I know that it can be really hard when somebody, you're eating dinner with somebody and then all of a sudden they start coming at you with their own ideas and insights and kind of cutting on yours, whether it be your mother, your sibling, or just a friend. Maybe you're finding, and you have to sit there and listen to it and stay calm and cool while your life has slowly begun to take a different direction. Maybe you're finally breaking, like myself, away from my borderline mother as her age continues into an elderly age where their masks really kind of weaken and their true sides come out and they're kind of ugly and evil seeming. If you have to take care of elderlies or whatever, maybe you're a nurse today, and you're just out there having to deal with public and you're not sure what to do in some cases. Where these people come at you with insults, berating, and degrading on your self-esteem. And maybe you're pounded like that every day on your job. but we might be stuck in it until we are ready to take those next steps, make those plans, and not run around bragging about your plans with everybody else that might not want you to leave. Be it that close, enmeshed family that you had. I do have to say that I'm realizing now once again, and you do every once in a while, amidst cognitive dissonance that a lot of people might be putting on you or that you are just dealing with inside your own mind, even if you are alone now. Where these people or your mind is telling you that you don't it's not really that bad, or that person, if they're a flying monkey, they're saying that that narcissist that they know that they're friends with, aren't really that bad, and when you know differently. And when you try to explain to these people, it just doesn't work. Are probably in states of denial themselves and have levels of more emotional unstableness and so forth. Um, I love to teach to my children now mindfulness. A lot of the DBT skill classes. Um, I've got a daughter that's still using. And although they might quit speaking to you, they might quit telling you what's going on in their lives, and they're out and about sneaking around, too ashamed to come home or whatever it is. Um, don't forget that those people still need your help. They still need shelter over their heads. Um, Not to be too ashamed when yourself or others you know do become addicted, especially those you love that are close. You can still be there for them, even though they shut you out a lot. Um, and maybe they're hungry, you know. But you do have to create more of kind of like a boundaries with these people, and they should know what you'll be able to tolerate and what you won't at certain times. Um, that they will remember and be grateful for us for our help that we do give them through these dark times until they can find possibly an AA or group to join where they might have to come to that deep end, but not having to go to that falling into that deep pit every time when they fall back to relapse, which might be over and over again. I know I'm talking about a lot of things here, like borderline mothers and addiction. But you got to think about what led you into these painful places where you want to escape with either like binging money out or food out, which a lot of us borderlines can really do, or people with more CPTSD levels when they grew up in more of a toxic home where they were not allowed to have any of their own boundaries, were a lot of times disrespected and showed who was boss by the people that took care of them. And, it became such a heartache, painful, numb place that when it got so bad and unbearable, we would take off and go binge somewhere just to self soothe because it was so hard for us to find something soothing. So many of us do reach for drinks, drugs, shopping, um, sex. Us codependents will definitely go find that toxic addictive relationship with a male that or female that idealize that it just goes beyond a dream of greatness at first, and they're pouring all of their love and adoration on you. But when you live with them for a while or have to work with them for a while, you realize that they can only hold that for so long, and and then of course it falls into the cycles of abuse where they're degrading you. Um, if you're stuck right now out there in the COVID and you have to deal with your not so great family, or you might have to stay in that relationship for a little while longer. Uh, like I said, a plan always makes me feel better to form a plan. And I'm sorry, I'm having a cramp right now. And for a lot of people that might not know this, I just learned this that in case of COVID, where you're sick for longer than 10 days, it can spread out longer to people with like diabetes and different diseases can spread out longer, even longer than 6 weeks. So, still, I'm kind of chugging along. It's been 7 weeks for me already, and this is going on the 8th week. I'm still waiting for it just to lift off of me, and I'll be back to my usual self. But like through this whole thing, you do have to have patience. You do have to try not to let these people that might be bothering you, sucking you into arguments where they won't leave you alone, and insulting you by either ignoring you or whatever may be their manipulation tactic, which toxic people do come at you with when you're doing your healing and recovering. Remember that you can walk away. You can, if they're being insulting toward you or leading you into more cognitive dissonance where, oh, well, it's okay to do that drug and there's nothing wrong with that drug, where they might be further leading you into more drug use or just different sabotaging things to keep you down and keep you their victim. Um, we might really can let it run us down, especially if we're all sick, um, or without money or whatever, people think they could come in if we let them, if we don't know all that we need to know yet about toxic abuse, narcissistic abuse, um, where we can let these people really take advantage of us. All of a sudden, even though there's tons of jobs at McDonald's or whatever, and you are the only one left working in your home, and you work your butt off to feed everybody, and maybe they're just picking out on all the food, because they say they're bored or whatever. um, these can be really antagonizing times. Speaking to a lot of parents out there. So how do we gain control and gain charge of that? It can be hard, especially when you're kind of ganged up on. But to just keep creating those boundaries, and they're either going to have to learn, be real mad at first that you're placing these new boundaries. But like I was talking about my mother, um, I really see kind of a very enmeshed relationship with her and I, where she always tries to be my best friend, real nice. But then the more that I've been, and I've been working at it for so long now, at least a couple of years, where I'm putting these boundaries down and they don't like it one bit. because they always have to have that control, especially with borderline or more narcissistic types of people. That is their source of supply, is that need to control everybody around them. And they might do these little punishments to get you to come back into that relationship or to come back into that family dynamic where they are the center of attention at all times. And you have to let them know what's going on with your life. And nothing really gets past them. I see even my own children do this with my parents, as they grew up in narcissistic grandparents' home. And I just couldn't figure out what was really going on until I started studying narcissistic abuse a few years ago. Um, at first, it can just devastate a person. But when you get tired of being so used and crossed, like the same way with any kind of addiction, because we can become addicted to that type of abuse. That little bits and crumbs of niceness, um, or those little bits and crumbs of whatever drug you can find in the wastebasket, when you throw all the drugs away. Um, And it might get even to the point where it's so bad that a person has to be put in jail or prison. They can become sick, or even death can occur, for a lot of the addicts. And, in relationships too, where that person you never knew was actually a narcissistic psychopath or sociopath in disguise, and they're raging around with maybe a weapon they own when you tell them you're leaving, like I said, planning, um, you find yourself doing things secretly, like maybe secretly making that dress for your daughter, or secretly saving some money to go out on a night by yourself, and maybe having to lie about where you went. Whatever it is, where these people can escalate because they might start losing control of you, can make them really angry. As to where you might have to start walking away from these people. But what's great about that is that you realize your own freedom. That's kind of what I'm teaching my son right now. As we get outcasted, and just sometimes even we watch people leave from our lives, friends and comrades of sorts, drinking buddies. You find people might go away for a while and then come back and decide to respect your boundaries. But for larger cases, maybe you just have to, as the separation begins between you and that person, just know that you are doing the right thing. It could break your heart, but in the end, you can walk away feeling more free, more confident, and not so trapped anymore, where people might just constantly be crazy making you. I hope I'm not repeating myself in this video, but I think it's important to become a good rock for our children, because our children will follow and they will listen to us as long as we will do the same for them. So be safe today and be brave. We can all come together in groups as more powerful states of mind and being. And don't forget to practice your prayer meditations today.